Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel, and today I'm going to be comparing Infinity Ward to Treyarch. I know this video seems like it's kind of out of nowhere, but yesterday I did a video about why Black Ops 4 was so fantastic. Obviously, whenever I'm like pro a certain game, there's people on the internet that will be like, oh, you're just a fanboy of this, you're just a fanboy of that. Like, arguments on the internet kind of just like, get boiled down to, you're just this, you're just that, as if, you're not a complex human being that's looking at things from a different perspective or anything like that. It's just how the internet is, man. But I will say, over the years, I tend to prefer the Treyarch games. I don't consider myself to be like a Treyarch fanboy, because if you, again, just to boil someone down, be like, oh, you're just a fanboy of this, like, even if they have a bad game, you're just a fanboy of it. It's like, no, I'm definitely very critical of both Infinity Ward and Treyarch, but over the years, Treyarch, in my opinion, has seemingly put out the better games, especially in like head-to-head competition with games that came out in back-to-back years. So for this video, I wanted to compare Call of Duty 4 versus World at War, Modern Warfare 2 versus the original Black Ops, Modern Warfare 3 versus Black Ops 2. Call of Duty Ghosts and Black Ops 4 are not going to be part of this because they weren't released like simultaneously, right? I mean, that's when we had the entire advanced movement thing come out. That's when they started the 3-year dev cycle. Ghost dropped in 2013. Black Ops 4 dropped in 2018. There's like an entire college experience of time in between them, so it's not really fair to compare that. And so we're going to skip that and then just go to Infinite Warfare versus Black Ops 3. Those games did come out back to back, and then Modern Warfare 2019 versus Black Ops Cold War. So without further ado, let's just jump right on into it. Call of Duty 4, when it came out in 2007, absolutely changed the game. It did. I mean, it took first-person shooters from like World War II and like other random stuff to like the modern age. Call of Duty 4 was so revolutionary, and there's a reason why it's beloved by so many fans. It introduced the entire idea of create a class. It introduced the idea of prestige mode. You had the iconic maps, the iconic guns, the iconic sounds. Like, everything about Call of Duty 4 is iconic. Going back to it today, you can definitely see it's a little rough around the edges compared to some of the stuff that we have now, but for the time back in 2007 and subsequently when it was remastered with Modern Warfare Remastered in 2016, like, that game was absolutely fantastic. Infinity Ward definitely put their name on the map. Obviously, they'd made Call of Duty games before that, but COD 4 at the time was like the pinnacle. And then the very next year, Treyarch came out with Call of Duty World at War, which was a bit of a return to form. I mean, up until COD 4, every Call of Duty game was World War II. People were getting kind of tired of it. That's part of the reason why COD 4 was so popular. It was in a modern setting. You had, MP5s, M16s, and Barrett 50 cals as compared to Kar 98Ks, Thompsons, and MP40s, But this was the beginning of the annual release cycle for the COD franchise. Treyarch had to put out a game, and so they went back to the roots with World War II, and I will say, I enjoyed Call of Duty World at War for what it was. Like, I put a lot of time, like 30 plus days of playtime into this game. I thoroughly enjoyed it, but the balancing was not nearly as good as COD 4. The netcode was not nearly as good as COD 4, and arguably, I don't think like the maps and the weapons and stuff like that were nearly as like iconic almost as what Call of Duty 4 had. So between these two games, I've got to go with Call of Duty 4. Infinity Ward wins this round 100%. Like, World at War is not a bad game by any stretch of the imagination. Again, I adore the game, but if I had to pick, like, to like erase one forever and then keep the other, I mean, there's no way I don't keep COD 4 in this situation. It was just way too good, so Infinity Ward definitely wins this round. Next up, Modern Warfare 2 versus Black Ops. So Modern Warfare 2, again, just like Call of Duty 4, completely changed the game. Like, when Modern Warfare 2 came out, it had the most hype I think I've ever seen for a Call of Duty game. It revolutionized the idea of kill streaks. You had the tactical nuke, so many iconic maps. The campaign was incredible. Spec Ops was kind of whatever. I mean, at the time, it was pretty fun to try and do all the challenges with your friends and stuff, but the multiplayer was the bread and butter. It was so addictive, but what people tend to forget is how busted Modern Warfare 2 actually was. As someone who actually played the game right there at the launch, Modern Warfare 2 had so many bugs. You had infinite care package glitches. You had infinite domination matches on Rust. You had all the hacker lobbies. You had the prestige lobbies. You had the God mode lobbies, the speed lobbies. God, basically, if you can think of it, there's a lobby for it in Modern Warfare 2. The game was fundamentally broken for more than half of its life cycle, yet people still loved it because it was new, it was so fun, it was so interesting, but fundamentally it was broken, and that's because Infinity Ward had that falling out with Activision. If you guys don't know about that by now, then you're probably newer to the COD franchise, but yeah, the original Infinity Ward team, the people that made like Call of Duty 2, Call of Duty 4, and even Modern Warfare 2, half of them left the Infinity Ward Studios, and then went on to form Respawn Entertainment, who made the Titanfall franchise, and then after that, Apex Legends. So those games, if you wonder why like they were so good, it's because they were developed by the same people that made COD 4 and Modern Warfare 2. You know, who would have thought? But Modern Warfare 2 to this day is still iconic. It's a fantastic game, but the big problem is to this day, it's still pretty damn busted as compared to the original Black Ops, which is my personal favorite Call of Duty game. They took a lot of the ideas that Modern Warfare 2 introduced and then expanded upon them. You had pro perks returning, you had the kill streaks returning. There was no nuke. Like, Treyarch always was against the idea of a nuke for like some reason. I really don't know why. Maybe it's somewhere in their contract that Activision said, okay, the nuke is an Infinity Ward thing, and Treyarch, you can have like a nuclear if you want, or something like that. I don't know. But yeah, the original Black Ops, it was still set in the past, but it wasn't World War II. It was a time period we never experienced before in the Call of Duty franchise, having Vietnam and the Cold War kind of being combined, all those iconic weapons, all those iconic maps. Treyarch wins this one, just hands down. And some people are going to disagree here. They're going to be like, how can you say Modern Warfare 2 was worse than Black Ops 1? If you actually played the game back in the day, Modern Warfare 2 was completely busted. Yes, Black Ops had a bunch of hit detection issues because they were running on slightly different engines. You had like the original like COD 4 engine, and then after that it kind of split off. Like the COD 4 engine was then further expanded upon by Treyarch with World at War, and then they took that version of the World at War engine and expanded upon it in Black Ops. Like, they basically went in two separate directions, right? And so the hit detection definitely felt worse in Black Ops 1, but at least the game was playable. And to this day, if you want to go back and play the original Modern Warfare 2, you're still going to get killed by one-man army noob tubes and have death streaks and things like that. Like, there was fundamentally a lot of broken aspects of Modern Warfare 2, so Treyarch wins this one. Black Ops 1 wins, in my opinion. I know people are going to disagree, but again, you can go back and play Black Ops 1 now. There may be hackers, but it's nothing that like the devs themselves actually did. If you go back to the original Modern Warfare 2, it's still broken and unbalanced, and there's still a lot of issues. I'm not saying it's a bad game. I'm just saying if I had to pick between the two, the original Black Ops wins. Next up, we have Modern Warfare 3 versus Black Ops 2. In Modern Warfare 3, it was a bit of a return to form, I would say, for Infinity Ward. They had to basically put their studio back together, and then they got help from Sledgehammer Games to actually push out the game, and the campaign was fantastic. Multiplayer was kind of like an expansion of Modern Warfare 2. It was better in some ways, but worse in others. Like, they made it so the kill streaks weren't nearly as powerful, but they also introduced the entire idea of specialist and the support package and the assault package for your kill streaks. That part was pretty interesting. On top of that, they added some new game modes in, like Infected, and overall, Modern Warfare 3, for me personally, was actually a pretty solid game at the time. Like, I did play the game a whole lot, but there were definitely a number of issues. But I mean, man, like, I know a lot of people are nostalgic for Modern Warfare 3, but how can you possibly compare it to a game like Black Ops 2? It was set in the far off and away land of 2025. And again, what they did with the original Black Ops, it was a time period we'd never seen before. Black Ops 2, again, was a time period we had never seen before. Suddenly, we're slightly futuristic, right? And the maps themselves were so colorful and beautiful. You had guns that kind of existed, but kind of didn't. Like, there's like this weird line between like reality and like sci-fi almost with the Black Ops 2 multiplayer. But, you know, if you played Black Ops 2 back in the day, like, that game was fantastic. The entire implementation of ranked play, and I've even mentioned zombies in any of these games, but Black Ops 2 Zombies was incredible, along with the original Black Ops Zombies as well. Modern Warfare 3 was a solid game that still holds up today, but Black Ops 2's multiplayer was absolutely incredible, and you had zombies on top of it. So it's like, how do you compare the two, right? Like, Black Ops 2, Treyarch wins this one as well, in my opinion. I'm just saying, like, these games are close. Don't think like, you know, Black Ops 1 is like infinitely better than Modern Warfare 2, or Black Ops 2 is infinitely better than Modern Warfare 3. They're pretty close, but Black Ops 1 and Black Ops 2 are just so damn good. Whereas Modern Warfare 2, though iconic, had a ton of problems, and Modern Warfare 3, it just didn't have the same soul, if that makes any sense. And I know it's hard to describe that. It's like the worst feedback I can possibly give, but like, Modern Warfare 3 did not have the same feeling, the same soul that COD 4 and Modern Warfare 2 had, which I think is why Call of Duty Ghosts ended up coming out. Modern Warfare 3 was the end of the original Modern Warfare trilogy. With Call of Duty Ghosts, I think they decided they wanted to try something new, an entirely new universe. And I will say, like, they were throwing everything at the wall with Ghosts, and some of it did stick, but a lot of it was just a bunch of shit they were throwing, and it didn't really work out all that well. So yeah, they tried something new with Call of Duty Ghosts. It really didn't hit, but again, we're not comparing Ghost or Black Ops 4 here in this video. So moving along here to the era of advanced movement, Infinite Warfare versus Black Ops 3. I'm gonna get flack for this, but I get flack in every video. Infinite Warfare was actually pretty good. based on the limited, and I mean limited, amount of time I put into the game, I think I maybe hit first prestige. I think that's as far as I got in Infinite Warfare, because a little known game called Modern Warfare Remastered was bundled with that game, and as someone who loves Call of Duty 4, started the series with Call of Duty 4, I spent the entire year covering Modern Warfare Remastered and making Modern Warfare Remastered content. So when I did play Infinite Warfare, however, the maps were beautiful. They had the idea of these specialists, but they never really seemed to be as good as like the Treyarch specialists. They felt kind of like a robot dog running around biting you. Like I didn't care for that as much. The weapon variants were actually pretty interesting, but of course they were tied to supply drops in some senses. But the DLC season was actually a lot more fair, I would say, in Infinite Warfare as compared to a lot of other games. But when you look at Black Ops 3, I think a lot of people consider it to be the best advanced movement game in the franchise. They took the movement that we had in games like Advanced Warfare and refined it a whole lot. You had the entire zombies experience, which was arguably the best one we've ever had in the franchise. And then looking at the multiplayer side of things, you had the implementation of these specialists, which a lot of people tended to actually prefer back in Black Ops 3. I'm not saying people want specialists to be in every game now, but I'm just saying in Black Ops 3, specialists weren't nearly as hated as they are now. The maps were beautiful. The gameplay was fluid. Everything about it felt fantastic. You had the implementation of dark matter, which looked incredible. I know Infinite Warfare had like dark sky or sun sky, some shit like that. I don't even remember. I know they had some cool looking camos themselves as well. But for me, you guys can feel free to debate this in the comments, which one was better. But for me, I actually did play a lot of Black Ops 3, like got the Prestige Master, got the Dark Matter, and Infinite Warfare. I feel like if it was such an amazing game, I probably would have not been playing the remaster of a 10-year-old game at the time as compared to playing the new one. But the 10-year-old game's remaster was like a lot more fun for me than the current game. So that kind of speaks volumes as to kind of like how I felt about Infinite Warfare at the time. And even nowadays, like I've heard so much good things about Infinite Warfare Zombies, and especially like Zombies in Spaceland and stuff like that, but just I've never had the desire to go back and play it because I would much rather play Infinity Ward's old content as compared to playing their new content, which I know sounds really bad for the developer. But yeah, for me personally, and again, feel free to debate, I think Black Ops 3 overtakes Infinite Warfare here. And then finally, Modern Warfare 2019 versus Black Ops Cold War. This is like comparing a douche to a turd, pretty much, but Modern Warfare 2019 is arguably one of the worst CODs of all time, in my opinion. It is the single solitary moment where Activision decided they're going to take the franchise in a whole new direction. That direction being, and this is not even me just like being outrageous or whatever, they literally claimed they made the maps for bad players because they wanted to cater to bad players. That's why Modern Warfare 2019's launch maps were very bad. In Infinity Ward's defense, they did make better DLC maps and they learned from their mistakes with the post-launch maps, but the launch maps of Modern Warfare 2019 were absolutely god-awful. The time to kill was so ridiculously quick. There was a million places to hide. There was like 10,000 windows every time you wanted to cross the street. The core experience in Modern Warfare 2019 was so bad that I literally quit doing YouTube and got a job as a security guard because I would rather do that than play Modern Warfare 2019. I know that sounds so ridiculous, but I did not enjoy that game at all. I did not want to be one of those YouTubers that makes content on games they don't like. I don't want to be those people that is pretending to have a good time because they need to make money and stuff like that. I did not want to do that. I wanted to stand by my own principles there. And so I did it. And I quit the game partway through and got like a real job up until the time that we started getting the leaks and the teasers and stuff like that for Black Ops Cold War, at which point I came back to YouTube. So you can already tell which game I'm going to pick here, but Black Ops Cold War, it had some redeeming factors, but it was definitely like one of the worst Treyarch games, I would say, overall. It felt so much more like an Infinity Ward clone as compared to, like a proper Treyarch game. Like it still felt like a Treyarch game. You still had that core, that soul that makes Treyarch games. But man, it still suffered from the same issues that Activision is kind of like forcing upon all the developers now, which is like try to cater to new players, cater to microtransactions in the shop, don't give too many actual rewards. I think to this day, Dark Matter still doesn't work on a handful of weapons in that game, which is inexcusably bad. Black Ops Cold War had some redeeming factors and it was pretty fun for a bit, but man, it just was not nearly as good as I hoped it would be. But that's partly due to the development cycle as well. The game was originally going to be made by Sledgehammer Games and Raven Software, and then those two studios apparently made such a bad product and could not work together, and it had so many internal issues that Activision had to step in and appoint Treyarch as the new head of that particular project. So whatever Treyarch was working on before got scrapped or pushed back. Maybe we'll see some aspects of it in Call of Duty 2024. But, you know, Treyarch had to just go in there and just like try to slap together the game as fast as they possibly could. And based on that, I think they did a pretty good job. But still, Black Ops Cold War was like on the lower tier, I would say, of the Treyarch games that we've listed so far. But between Modern Warfare 2019 and Black Ops Cold War, I think Treyarch wins again. So yeah, there we go. I mean, just looking at the scoreboard here, whew, that's pretty rough, honestly. You can see why, like, if you look at it this way, like, instead of just saying, like, oh, man, I really liked Modern Warfare 2, how can you say that Infinity Ward's bad? It's like, well, compare them to the games that came out together at that time. Like, would you take Modern Warfare 2 over the original Black Ops? Would you take Modern Warfare 3 over Black Ops 2? I know everyone's different, but try to score it this way, and I would love to hear what you guys think down there in the comments. Like, put up your own little score sheets down there in the comments. I would love to see what you guys think. But for me personally, you know, going between, like, these 5 sets of games right here, Treyarch wins 4-1. And does that make me a Treyarch fanboy? No, because I definitely think I critique Treyarch just as much as I critique Infinity Ward. I try to be as objective as possible, but I have found that over time, Treyarch tends to put out the better product, at least for me personally as a player and as a consumer. You know, doesn't mean it's always necessarily the best as a content creator. I mean, you guys want to hear some bullshit? My best years on YouTube in terms of growth, money, all that nonsense, were Advanced Warfare and Call of Duty Ghosts, 2 games I didn't even like that much. You know, the games that I loved, like Black Ops 2, Black Ops 1, to a lesser extent, Modern Warfare Remastered, Black Ops 4, you know, those years were nothing compared to the Advanced Warfare and Call of Duty Ghost days, you know, so I'm not looking at it like from a money perspective, I'm looking at it from the perspective of my enjoyment as a player and as a consumer. So, yeah, I think overall, just to list a few more bullet points here, I think if we had to compare the 2 separate developers based on like their laundry list of different games they've released, Infinity Ward usually has amazing campaigns, very hit or miss multiplayer, and then usually a pretty low tier third game mode, usually in the form of Spec Ops. I will say what we have here in Modern Warfare 2 with the new raids is actually pretty great, but then we compare that to Treyarch. Instead of saying amazing campaigns, I'm going to say they're good to great campaigns. Sometimes, you know, their campaigns are just downright confusing, and then you look at the campaign at Black Ops 3 and you just go, what the hell were you possibly thinking? So I definitely think Infinity Ward makes better campaigns. I think that Treyarch tends to make above average to great multiplayer experiences, and then the third game mode being zombies, I mean, it's not even a question. You know how good Treyarch Zombies is. So yeah, there you have it. That is my little comparison, I suppose, for Infinity Ward versus Treyarch. I know it's kind of like a random video to post on a day like today, but at the same time, if I'm just sitting here with my thumb up my ass waiting for Call of Duty news to come out, well, there's not going to be a whole lot of videos on my channel. I gotta get a bit creative. So there you guys have it. I hope you enjoyed the video. Leave your personal score sheets down there in the comment section below, and I hope you guys all have a wonderful day.